Struggling to sit up from the bed, Chen Jianghai felt that his head was about to explode. Is this place? Looking at the mottled and dilapidated brick building in front of him, he rubbed his head, feeling a little familiar. Didn't you get drunk in the shop yesterday? How can it be here? Are you dreaming? Just when Chen Jianghai was in a daze, the wooden door of the room was pushed open, and a young woman walked in. She is tall, with 2 ponytails, big watery eyes, a lovely nose bridge, a fair face, and rosy and full lips, just like Zhou Huimin, the former head of the Jade Girl. Wan Qiu. Chen Jianghai widened his eyes in disbelief, looked at the woman in front of him, and called out her name in a daze. Are you awake? Breakfast is ready, I'm going to work. After that, the woman took a grey coat and was about to go out. Wan Qiu, don't go! Chen Jianghai subconsciously shouted loudly. The woman's body stiffened slightly. I only have a few cents left on me, I'll give it to you. After saying that, the woman took out 2 crumpled wool bills from her pocket and threw them on the table, with a sad look in her eyes, and left without looking back. When the other party walked out, Chen Jianghai reacted and jumped off the bed at once. By the time he stumbled and chased out, the woman was already far away. Wan Qiu. Is she really Wan Qiu? Am I dreaming? Chen Jianghai was full of excitement and muttered. Lin Wangkaiu, the daughter-in-law of Chen Jianghai, is a well-known beauty in 8 townships. At the beginning, because Lin Wangkaiu's father was seriously ill, he urgently needed a large amount of surgery expenses. According to the matchmaker, the Chen Jianghai family gave the Lin family a generous betrothal gift to marry Lin Wangkaiu back. Because he wanted to make a lot of money to be a boss, Chen Jianghai didn't want to go to work after marriage, and he was only focused on doing business, no matter how he persuaded him. Lin Wangkaiu could only swallow the grief silently, supporting the family alone, hoping that one day Chen Jianghai would be more at ease and stop tossing. Later, Chen Jianghai's business failed and he owed a huge amount of foreign debt. Lin Wangkaiu still stayed there, and accompanied him through the difficult days of sleeping in the grass hut and gnawing at the nest. When Chen Jianghai recognized himself and honestly went to work in the factory to earn money, and the couple's life had just improved, Lin Wangkaiu became seriously ill due to long-term hard work and passed away quietly. This ending also made Chen Jianghai remorseful, but the tragedy had already happened and could not be undone. He suddenly woke up and left the sad place of his hometown, no longer dreaming of being a boss, and went to work in a big city, but whenever it was quiet at night, he always used alcohol to relieve his sorrow and wept bitterly for what he had done in the past. Wan Qiu, you really still hate me, you only let me take a look in your dreams. Chen Jianghai smiled miserably, and slammed his fist on the dilapidated wooden table. What? A piercing pain came, and Chen Jianghai couldn't help shaking his hands. After a few flicks, Chen Jianghai suddenly forgot the pain, and stared blankly at his red and swollen right hand. It hurts, but do you feel pain in a dream? Is this not a dream? Thinking of this, Chen Jianghai immediately opened the door and walked out. A burst of dazzling eyes came over, so he couldn't help covering it with his hands. After getting used to it for a while, Chen Jianghai put down his hands and turned his head to look at the almost empty house behind him. His eyes finally fell on the calendar behind the door. July 24, 1991, a very ordinary day, was also the second year after he and Lin Wangkaiu got married. Back, he really returned to the past. Chen Jianghai couldn't be more excited, but when he thought of what he had done in the past and Lin Wangkaiu's desperate eyes in the hospital, he couldn't help but slapped himself with a big mouth. Chen Jianghai, you really are not human. Gritting his teeth, Chen Jianghai looked out the window and said very firmly. Wangkaiu, don't worry, I only have 3 words in my life, Lin Wangkaiu. I will never let you suffer any more grievances and sins. Taking a deep breath, resisting the urge to go to the factory to find Lin Wangkaiu, Chen Jianghai returned to his room, rolled up his sleeves, and cleaned the mess inside and out. Although the house is shabby, it looks much more comfortable after cleaning. After drinking the bowl of light brown barley porridge on the table, Chen Jianghai walked out of the room and came to the small kitchen built with asbestos tiles next door. Open the rice jar, only a shallow layer of rice is left in it, and only a few briquettes are left. Chen Jianghai was naturally well aware of this situation, because his family had been having a hard time because of his lack of business. To make money and let Wang Kaiyu live a good life, the thought in Chen Jianghai's heart became more and more firm. Putting on a coat, Chen Jianghai strode out of the courtyard and onto the street. Today, Linghai is only a small county town. There are no high-rise buildings lined up on the streets. All of them are short bungalows. The ground is uneven concrete ground, and the sky is still blue. Along the way, there are not many shops on the street, and there are not so many dazzling goods, which fully shows that this is an era when everything is waiting. Chen Jianghai also saw a business that almost disappeared in later generations, shoe repair. In the distance, the song of the little tigers floated, "Put your heart, my heart, in a string." "Hey, why is there no sound?" A voice from the side caught Chen Jianghai's attention. He turned his head and saw a white-haired old man sitting at the door of his house, frowning and fiddling with the radio in his hand. Seeing this scene, Chen Jianghai's eyes suddenly lit up. Before the rebirth, Chen Jianghai has been engaged in home appliance repair work. After the millennium, he also owned a home appliance repair shop. Repairing a radio was no problem for him. Although there is little money to do this in later generations, but now it is a good business to make money, and it is absolutely technical work. What can reflect the changing times? There is no doubt that the wedding four pieces. The four major items of the 1950s and 1960s, bicycles, watches, radios, and sewing machines. Commonly known as 3 turns and 1 ring. After the reform and opening up, ordinary people have a lot of money in their pockets. Therefore, the 4 major items have become color TV, refrigerator, washing machine, and tape recorder. All are home appliances. In particular, the radio, which was once a rare commodity, has now become a must-have information acquisition product for almost every household. When the usage rate is high, the damage rate will naturally increase. In this era, the common people are reluctant to leave, and can only repair and reuse. And repairing household appliances is a delicate job in this era. Must be proficient in electrical construction principles and maintenance methods. Chen Jianghai felt that his skills had finally found a way to play. "Master, is the radio broken?" Chen Jianghai took 2 steps forward and said with a smile. The old man glanced at Chen Jianghai, nodded and said, "Yes, it was fine last night, I don't know what happened." Chen Jianghai smiled and said, "Master, should I help you take a look? You know how to repair?" The uncle had doubts in his eyes. Chen Jianghai said calmly, "Well, I can repair it, but if it can be repaired, I have to pay a repair fee, will it work?" "Okay, as long as you cultivate well, I'll give you 50 cents. The uncle hesitated for a moment, then stretched out a slap and said. Chen Jianghai shook his head, "Master, is the 50 cents a little less?" "What? 5 cents is too little, why don't you go grab it?" The old man raised his eyebrows and said. Chen Jianghai said unhurriedly, "Master, a brand new radio costs at least 40 or 50 yuan, are you willing to buy a new one?" The uncle was about to speak, but Chen Jianghai took the lead. "If it is sent for repair, at least 2 or 3 yuan will be charged for the repair fee. So, let me see first. If it can be repaired, how about you only give 1 yuan? In 1991, UU reading www. At this time, the per capita monthly income of UUGanshu.com was only 200 or 300 yuan. This has to be the working class of the big cities. If it is a small city or a rural area, the income is even less. Therefore, buying a new radio is definitely not a small expense for a family. Chen Jianghai's words completely made the uncle give up his thoughts of bargaining. Okay. One piece is just one piece, but if you don't fix it, I won't give you the money. Grandpa nodded. Row. Chen Jianghai took over the radio with a smile, and asked the old man for a screwdriver by the way. He opened the battery box first. The battery inside was fairly new and should still be charged. After opening the internal inspection, Chen Jianghai found the problem. It turned out that the internal antenna was loose. This repair is very simple, and there is no need to buy any accessories. Master, do you have aluminum sheets at home? Chen Jianghai asked. Aluminum? This one really doesn't exist. The uncle was stunned for a moment, then shook his head. Is there a bottle of Jianlibao? Have. Do you have a soldering iron? There's one next door, I'll borrow it. Chen Jianghai took the bottle of Jianlibao, looked at the label on it, and missed it very much. Later, although the light returned and the production was produced for a while, it was not the same. Borrowing scissors, Chen Jianghai cut 2 small pieces of aluminum from the bottle. After disassembling the radio and replacing the 2 small aluminum pieces that were originally connected to the antenna, Chen Jianghai reinstalled the radio. Squeak! Soon, there was a rustling sound on the radio. Chen Jianghai shook the antenna, and then began to tune the channel. August 19th, Beyond will hold a concert in the Red Pavilion, this. The voice is not very clear, there is always a rustling voice, but the uncle is very happy to hear it. Master, how is it? Has it been repaired? Chen Jianghai asked with a smile. The uncle happily took the radio and took out $1 happily. Okay, young man, then, this money is for you. Chen Jianghai took the money and held it tightly in his hand. This can be regarded as the first money he made after his rebirth, and it is quite memorable. By the way, young man, there is also a problem with my TV, can you fix it? The uncle asked suddenly, with a look of anticipation in his eyes. Let me consider. This old man's house is in good condition. Chen Jianghai raised his eyebrows slightly and responded cautiously. The uncle took Chen Jianghai into the house. There was a black and white TV on the wardrobe, covered with a thick patterned cloth. Chen Jianghai kindly reminded, Master, don't put on the TV series. Isn't this afraid of falling ashes? Put a cloth to block it. The uncle couldn't help but explain. Chen Jianghai grinned, Hi, uncle, the heat dissipation of this TV relies on the small holes at the back. If you cover it all, it will affect its heat dissipation and accelerate aging. Okay, I'll listen to you and take it now. The uncle had obviously determined that Chen Jianghai was an expert, and he stretched out his hand to take the cloth away. Immediately plugged in the power, turned on the TV series, and saw a vertical bright line on the right side of the screen. Although this line doesn't affect the viewing, it is a bit annoying to look at. The uncle pointed and said helplessly. The experienced Chen Jianghai suddenly flashed 3 possibilities of failure in his mind. But which one is exactly? You have to turn on the TV and check to be sure. After skillfully dismantling the back cover of the TV, Chen Jianghai quickly found the reason, and one of the solder joints fell off. It just so happened that the soldering iron hasn't been returned yet, so it's easier to repair. Master, the price of repairing TVs and radios is not the same. Chen Jianghai raised his head and said knowingly. The uncle is a shrewd person and has been paying attention. Until it was confirmed that Chen Jianghai did have a job in hand, and it seemed that he could fix it, he said cheerfully, Young man, make a price. $5. Chen Jianghai stretched out a slap, simply and neatly. For this price, the uncle did not bargain, and agreed on the spot. A few minutes later, Chen Jianghai rewelded all the suspected problems, and then turned on the TV. At this point, the bright line on the screen has disappeared, and everything is back to normal. On the TV, Zhao Yazi's version of Smoke and Clouds in Jinghua was playing, and Chen Jianghai lost interest after one glance. After seeing the LCD rear projection of later generations, watching black and white TV at this time can be described as boring. "Young man, you really have 2 strokes." The uncle gave a thumbs up and sincerely praised. Chen Jianghai smiled, "Master, if any relatives or friends have problems with electrical appliances in the future, they can contact me. My name is Chen Jianghai, and the charges are absolutely fair." "Okay." Looking at the repaired TV, the uncle smiled and replied repeatedly. Just when Chen Jianghai wanted to leave, the uncle suddenly spoke again. "By the way, Xiao Chen, I still have an old radio, can you repair it? Let's take a look." Chen Jianghai could probably read the mind of the uncle, and said with a smile. Afterwards, the uncle took out an old radio from the house, and many places on it were rusted. "It's been broken for several years, do you think it can be repaired?" the uncle said with a smile. Chen Jianghai took a look at it and shook his head. "If it needs a lot of parts to repair, you can basically buy a new one." When the uncle heard this, he was obviously a little disappointed. At this moment, Chen Jianghai suddenly said, "Master, I can take this, can you sell it?" "How much?" the uncle asked subconsciously. $2. Chen Jianghai stretched out and quoted the price. "Too little." The uncle looked reluctantly. Chen Jianghai immediately said, "I haven't seen this brand of radios before. I want to buy them and disassemble them to see the structure inside. If it doesn't work, forget it." The uncle, who was still hesitant, said quickly, No, you can take the $2. A radio that is so damaged that it can't be used will cost at most 50 cents if it's sold as junk. Now that it can be sold for 2 yuan, a fool will not do it." Chen Jianghai took out the money generously and left with the old radio. "Master, if there are friends who want to repair electrical appliances in the future, or sell used electrical appliances, they can come to me. I'm just wandering around here. The price is absolutely cheap." Looking at the radio in his hand, Chen Jianghai had a cheerful smile on his face. "Can you be unhappy? I repaired the radio for the old man and earned 1 yuan, repaired his TV, and made 5 yuan, and then spent 2 yuan to buy his old radio. All in all, the old man's equipment was bought with the old man's money. Purely earning money inside and out." On the value of technology. Technology changes destiny. Chen Jianghai knows very well that if he wants to make money in this era, relying on technology is the best way. Repairs can make money, but the speed is too slow. Right now is the era of reform and opening up, allowing individual businesses to do business. Many people have broken and old electrical appliances in their homes. They can be collected, disassembled, reassembled, and sold. Other places don't know. At least no one in Linghai is doing this business, which is equivalent to Chen Jianghai's monopoly. How profitable the monopoly business is, people in future generations will know. Holding the radio, Chen Jianghai excitedly went to the vegetable market in Yangqiaka, ready to buy some food and go back to make a good meal. His wife Lin Wangqiu in her last life did not eat a single bite of the food he cooked until she left this world in despair. In this life, all changes start from this meal. "Boss, cut 2 caddies of pork belly for me." In front of the meat stall, Chen Jianghai said loudly. In the 1990s, the days of limited supply are gradually gone. As long as you have money, you can buy meat and food. The stall owner was stunned for a while. Most of the people who came here to buy meat were lean or fatty meat, and there were really not many people who bought pork belly. "It's just over 2 pounds, you can get it for 3 yuan. The boss cut it all in one cut, and after weighing it, he quickly tied the meat with a rope. Hearing this price, Chen Jianghai couldn't help but stunned. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. It may be difficult for those who have not experienced it to imagine that this pork is only sold for 1 piece and 5 kilograms. After more than 20 years, this thing will cost at least 20 to 31 pounds. It has risen nearly 20 times. Sadly, wage increases are pitifully low, unable to keep up with the rhythm of rising prices. In the previous life, Chen Jianghai did not cherish the people around him, and worked the ground, and eventually became nothing and was alone. In this lifetime, Chen Jianghai decided to change his way of life and start a completely different life. If you want to get rich, you must be early. The Tui year of the 1990s is definitely an era when pigs can fly, and countless legends of rich people are written. The 1990s was also a very magical era. As long as you were bold and dared to think and act, you could easily complete the primitive accumulation of capital and become a household of 10,000 yuan in people's mouths. Chen Jianghai's ambition is more than 10,000 yuan. Millionaires, multimillionaires, and even billionaires are not unattainable goals. Looking at the fish in his hand, Chen Jianghai was a little dazed. 4 yuan can buy food for nearly 3 days, and the weight is full. In this day and age, it is true. He came to the door with the radio in one hand and the vegetables in the other. Chen Jianghai looked at the house in front of him, and an idea suddenly popped up in his heart. If you want to buy a worn-out appliance and reassemble it, the premise is that you need a startup capital. Chen Jianghai can be said to be poor and white now, and it is impossible to find a way from himself. Because no one would be willing to lend him money again, that would be the same as throwing money into the water. The only thing that is worth the money right now is the house. However, this matter, it is best to tell Lin Wangkai first. After putting things away, Chen Jianghai went to the grain and oil store at the end of the street to buy 10 kilograms of rice. After calculating the time for Lin Wangkai to get off work, he began to prepare dinner. I lit the coal stove, poured rapeseed oil into the pot, and a thick smoke came out immediately. People who don't know this will definitely think it's on fire. Chen Jianghai also shook his head secretly. At present, the rapeseed oil that is basically used in the countryside is squeezed by itself. Because the refining method is backward, there are many impurities in the rapeseed oil. Once the temperature rises, the rapeseed oil will smoke. If you want to eat better, you still have to go to the oil factory to buy it. When Lin Wangkai came back, the last dish was just on the table. Pushing the door into the room, Lin Wangkai was slightly taken aback when she saw a table of sumptuous dishes with all the flavors and aromas. Pork with plum vegetables, fried water spinach with garlic, braised fish, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, and a bowl of cucumber and kelp soup. For others, it was just a normal dinner. But to Lin Wangkai, everything was too unreal. Can't even dream. Wangkai, you're back. Go wash your hands and get ready to eat. Chen Jianghai said with a smile while wiping his hands with his patched apron. Lin Wangkai hesitated, then frowned, and asked, "Are there any guests at home?" "No. Just the two of us." With that said, Chen Jianghai picked up the bowl and started serving rice. In the past, when Chen Jianghai was rich, he would bring so-called business friends to his house for dinner, all of which were good wine and good food, and he ate better than usual. However, Lin Wangkai had never been to the table, so she could only eat the leftovers. Looking at the food on the table at the moment, Lin Wangkai frowned and asked, "Where did you get the money?" "Today, I helped people repair the radio and TV. I earned the repair fee, bought some dishes, and also rice and eggs." Chen Jianghai said calmly without concealing it. "You can repair radios? TVs?" Lin Wangkai's face was full of doubts. No one knows more than Lin Wangkai, who is his wife, how much Chen Jianghai weighs. To say that he went out drinking and bragging, Lin Wangkai had no doubts. But to say that he made money by craftsmanship outside, she wouldn't believe it if he killed her. "Well, home appliances. I'll go out tomorrow and see if I can find some more work." Chen Jianghai said his plan, put the rice bowl filled with rice on the table, and pushed it over. "Come on, let's eat." Lin Wangkai widened her eyes and looked at Chen Jianghai, feeling that the person in front of her seemed a little strange. Is it because God saw that I was too hard and tired, so did the man in front of him change his sex? No, certainly not so. How can you have such a good life? Lin Wangkai felt that he couldn't easily trust Chen Jianghai, he must have something. Chen Jianghai, what are you trying to do? Lin Wangkai frowned and asked Chen Jianghai cautiously. Seeing this situation, Chen Jianghai was also a little speechless. Don't you know what you said? I really don't have any money, can you stop? Lin Wangkai saw that Chen Jianghai didn't answer, so she couldn't help but follow. As soon as the words came out, Lin Wangkai regretted it. In the past, if she contradicted Chen Jianghai like this, she must have received anger from the other party, so she quickly explained. I know you want to make money, but you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry, so take it slow. Seeing Lin Wangkai's appearance, Chen Jianghai felt even more apologetic. Such a gentle and virtuous wife, it's too late to hold her in her hands, yet she still gets angry with her? What a sin! Stop talking, let's eat first. Chen Jianghai did not explain, because he knew in his heart that no matter what he said next, Lin Wangkai would not listen. Of course, Lin Wangkai couldn't be blamed for this. It's all because she failed again and again in the past, and let her down again and again, and she no longer had any trust at all. I owe this woman too much. Come on, try my craft. Chen Jianghai picked up his chopsticks and put vegetables in Lin Wangkai's bowl. Lin Wangkai subconsciously picked up the bowl and was about to hide, but Chen Jianghai moved quickly and had already put a piece of fat, thin and oily pork belly in her bowl. Eat, eat more. After putting another piece of fish for Lin Wangkai, Chen Jianghai picked up his bowl and began to gulp down. After a busy day, he was really hungry. Moreover, the fish meat of this era has a different fragrance, so he eats it extraordinarily sweet. Lin Wangkai watched for a while and found that Chen Jianghai was not looking at her, so she moved her chopsticks. Lin Wangkai's eyes lit up when she put the piece of pork belly in her mouth. So delicious! Eating and eating, when her eyes fell on the man in front of her again, she became a little more complicated. After eating, Lin Wangkai stood up naturally and packed up the dishes. Chen Jianghai reached out his hand to stop her and said, Wangkai, go and rest, let me come. In Lin Wangkai's extraordinarily surprised eyes, Chen Jianghai did something he had never done since his marriage, washing dishes. Chen Jianghai was washing the dishes while thinking about the startup capital. Originally, he wanted to talk to Lin Wangkai about taking the house as a mortgage, but now it seems that the other party will never agree. Only to find another way. While Chen Jianghai was washing the dishes, Lin Wangkai sat beside the bed, took out the unfinished sweater and started playing. Every day before going to bed, I have time to play. Looking at Lin Wangkai who was quietly wearing a sweater, Chen Jianghai was standing in the kitchen, not in a hurry to disturb him. In his eyes, the scene at this time was like a painting, and Lin Wangkai in the painting was extraordinarily gentle and beautiful. At night, the two of them slept on two wooden beds, and the room was silent. The atmosphere was a little depressing. Chen Jianghai turned his body sideways, facing Lin Wangkai's direction, his eyes were full of tenderness. Jianghai. In the darkness, Lin Wangkai's soft voice came. Well, what's wrong? You should look for a job tomorrow. Lin Wangkai said hesitantly. You reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Don't worry, I know this. It seems that Lin Wangkai still doesn't believe her words, so Chen Jianghai can only come back like this. Lin Wangkai followed up, our factory is recruiting people right now. The monthly salary can be 50 yuan, so we can save some money to buy some things for the family. Hearing this, Chen Jianghai felt very guilty. At the beginning, Lin Wangkai's wish was so simple, to be able to live peacefully and steadily, why couldn't he be satisfied? Thanks for watching, Please subscriber. After a moment of silence, Lin Wangkai spoke again. Zhonghai, I won't force you if you don't go to work. You can do business if you want, but can you stop dealing with those people in the future? I heard people say that they are not serious business people. Chen Jianghai was stunned for a moment, then remembered who Lin Wangkai was talking about. Well, I see. Chen Jianghai said calmly. Zhonghai, you. Lin Wangkai wanted to say something else, but Chen Jianghai suddenly grabbed her hand with a very gentle voice. Wangkai, I know what you are worried about, but don't worry, Chen Jianghai, will never let you suffer again in the future, you will have a good time. Listening to Chen Jianghai's affectionate words, feeling the strength and temperature on her arm, Lin Wangkai suddenly had the urge to cry. Isn't what she wants is such a man who can cherish herself and be worthy of trust? It's just that it all seemed too sudden, and she couldn't even believe it was true. When Chen Jianghai fell asleep in a daze, a long sigh sounded in the silent room. When he woke up, Chen Jianghai sat up, rubbed his sleepy eyes, and found that Lin Wangkai had gone out, with a bowl of white rice porridge and a boiled egg on the table. Chen Jianghai, who was full of fighting spirit, got up immediately, washed up, drank the thick white porridge, ate eggs, and then took out the radio that he received yesterday. This was bought for $2, and of course it can't be used as waste. After disassembling it with ease, Chen Jianghai found that the reason why the radio did not respond was actually just a small problem, that is, the integrated power switch was oxidized. This fault is a pediatrician. Chen Jianghai found a scumbag, gently rubbed off the outer oxide layer, and then used chopsticks to dab some rapeseed oil on it and used it as a lubricant first. Wipe off any accumulated dust inside and out of the radio, and after reinstalling it, plug it in and turn it on. Accompanied by the familiar melody of Singing the Motherland, a crisp sound came from the radio. Central People's Broadcasting Station, its news and newspaper summary time. Listeners, good morning, today is July 25th, Thursday, the 14th of the 6th month of the lunar calendar. This radio is fixed. The original plan of thinking about mortgage real estate for startup capital will definitely not work. If he really dared to take out the house as a mortgage, he would have no doubt that his wife would really dare to fight with him. He didn't want the good feelings he just brushed in front of his wife to be instantly ruined. God can't be hard-hearted. No money to open the first shop, but also cannot stop his active heart. Chen Jianghai was not idle. He found a piece of thin cardboard half a meter long, and wrote 2 lines of characters on the board sign with chalk. Professional repair of household appliances, repair is not expensive. Buy abandoned home appliances. There are also 2 lines of small print, radio, tape recorder, BP machine, starting from 50 cents. TV, refrigerator, start at 5 yuan. Chen Jianghai is not only a maintenance worker, but also a rubbish collector. The sign hangs on the bike, and the bag contains maintenance tools such as wrenches and screwdrivers. With the technology in hand, you don't have to worry about eating and drinking. He intends to use this way of walking around the streets to make some loose money first. This price is much more reasonable than professional electrical repair shops. Those who have experienced that era must not be unfamiliar with this impression in their minds. The hawkers who walked the streets and alleys swirled in the long alley. Get your hair. Sharpen scissors, cut kitchen knives. Collect the rubbish. The voice is melodious, but full of strong local accents. For Chen Jianghai, when he stepped into this line, he also picked up his own memories. Just arrived at the entrance of an alley, but was stopped by a familiar figure. It was the uncle who asked him to repair the radio yesterday. Ah, boy, I finally found you. The uncle wiped his sweat and said a little anxiously. Chen Jianghai looked at the other party with some doubts. What's wrong, sir? Your radio is broken again. The uncle waved his hand quickly. No, my old friend's refrigerator is broken, please help me to see it. After finishing speaking, Before Chen Jianghai could answer, the uncle took him and walked in one direction. Good luck, come out and meet a big job. Chen Jianghai said calmly, Master, if it's broken, it's broken. There's no need to be so anxious, right? The uncle shook his head, Hey, you don't know, his son is going to get married in a few days, and the trustee bought a lot of seafood and put them in the refrigerator. Now the refrigerator is broken, and the seafood is going bad quickly. It's troublesome. Chen Jianghai understood now, no wonder the uncle was so anxious. You must know that seafood is indeed not easy to store in the hot summer. If it cannot be refrigerated, it will soon deteriorate. Besides, he is another old man with a small and cheap figure. They can already afford refrigerators, but they are reluctant to pay hundreds of dollars for repairs. The uncle led the way bumpy all the way, and soon came to a small brick courtyard. Lao Hu, are you at home? The uncle slapped the closed door twice, and shouted outside in a loud voice. Old Zhang. A voice came from inside, and said irritably, I have something to do at home, so I won't go to play chess. The uncle who was called Lao Zhang said loudly, Hey, I know what's going on, isn't the refrigerator broken? I'll find a master for you, maybe he can fix it for you. There was no sound inside, and it didn't take long for the door to open. A tall, grey-haired uncle came out and looked at the old anxiously, Is there a master who can repair it? Where is it? As for Chen Jianghai beside Lao Zhang, he was directly ignored by the old man. According to Lao Hu, those who can repair refrigerators are experienced masters. This kind of young man with no hair on his mouth is definitely unreliable in his skills, and he doesn't think about it at all. Then, it's this guy. He repaired my radio yesterday for me. Old Zhang pointed at Chen Jianghai and said, and it's cheaper, much cheaper than the repair shop outside. The point is that it's cheap. Lao Hu looked at Chen Jianghai suspiciously, blinked and said, Just him? Can you do it? Chen Jianghai was not surprised by the other party's reaction, and said calmly, Uncle Hu, you won't need money if you can't fix it. Lao Hu frowned and asked, What if it's broken? Chen Jianghai confidently replied with two words, compensation. Lao Hu raised his eyebrows, glanced at Lao Zhang again, then nodded and led two people in. This old Hu's house is in good condition. The large yard is full of flowers and plants. Although the main house is a bungalow, the place is not small, at least 200 square meters. It is also true, ordinary people, who can afford a refrigerator in this era. After entering the main room, Lao Hu pointed to the refrigerator beside the sofa and said, This thing can't refrigerate anymore, let's see what's going on. Chen Jianghai didn't speak, and walked over to take a look. Hey, it's still the latest higher refrigerator. During the period from the late 1980s to the 1990s, Haier Electric was the current leader in China. In 1985, Zhang Xiaoyui, chairman of Haier, smashed hundreds of low-quality refrigerators in one breath, and started the first battle to defend the quality. Since then, Haier Electric has become a leader in domestic electrical appliances. Up to now, this 40-year-old company is still owned at head of the world with Gree and Oaks. Chen Jianghai first put his hands on the refrigerator and listened to whether the compressor was working. Compressor is the core working component of refrigerator refrigeration. After listening for a while, the compressor is working normally, then the problem may be with the evaporator. After asking Uncle Hu for a screwdriver, he opened the back cover of the refrigerator. Chen Jianghai just glanced at it and immediately knew where the problem was. At this time, the evaporator is covered with this thick layer of frost, which causes the air duct to be blocked and the cooling effect is greatly reduced. The reason for this failure is that the heating tube is blown. Just replace a heating tube, you can solve this fault. But unfortunately, Chen Jianghai does not have a heating tube, so he must buy spare parts for maintenance. How is it? Can it be repaired? Seeing Chen Jianghai's quick dismantling action, uncle who next to him couldn't help but ask. It can be repaired, but I have to buy a part first. Chen Jianghai stood up and said. You wait, I'll see if I can buy parts. After all, you reading www.yuuganchu.com. Chen Jianghai went out in a hurry to find a heater. You must know that buying things now is not like the future. You can buy whatever you want on Doubao. Even some common parts can only be found in professional repair shops. But such repair shops are rare, at least not many in this small county where Chen Jianghai lives. After all, with the memories of his previous life, Chen Jianghai thought of a place almost immediately. There is a component factory in the county, where there is a high probability that you can find the heat pipe you want. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. This component factory is still a state-owned enterprise. Because of the rigid production system, the business is not very good. According to the memory of the last life, it will close down at the end of this year, causing many workers to lose their jobs and causing some troubles. At present, the management of the factory is chaotic and the product backlog is serious. For businesses, this is unfortunate. If you think about it from another angle, for Chen Jianghai, it might not be the case. Wool is not smashed and white is not smashed. Half an hour later, Chen Jianghai hurried all the way to the component factory in the north of the city, carrying 2 packs of the big front door and riding the 28th pole. Chen Jianghai walked over to take a look and couldn't help but raise his brows. I saw a few workers sitting lazily in the corner, smoky, and shouting. Good guy, these guys are really fat. It's enough to gather a crowd to play cards in the daytime, and even dare to smoke heavily in the warehouse. Cough, who is in charge here? Chen Jianghai asked with a light cough. Suddenly hearing someone speak, the workers were still taken aback by surprise. However, when they saw that it was a stranger, and they were still young, they breathed a sigh of relief. Who are you? Who asked you to come? After someone threw a pair of sevens, he took a hard breath and asked hard. Chen Jianghai, who has lived for 2 lifetimes, is a good person. As for the world, he is self-taught without a teacher. He quickly took out the big front door that had been prepared for a long time, and while scattering the smoke for everyone, he said, My name is Chen Jianghai. I repair electrical appliances. I have something to worry about. Reaching out his hand not to hit the smiling man, looking at the big front door that Chen Jianghai handed over, the expression on the man's face softened a lot. A middle-aged man in his 30s with a slightly fat body stood up, took the cigarette and sniffed it under his nose, and then said, Tell me, what's the matter? Chen Jianghai glanced at him and understood that this person should be in charge here, so he hurried over, stuffed the remaining half of the pack of cigarettes into the other's pocket, and said with a smile on his face, Brother, take a step to talk? The man glanced at Chen Jianghai, waved his hand to the rest and said, You guys keep playing. Brother Dong, hurry up and come back. The others glanced at him with some envy and replied with a smile. Brother Dong, what's your surname? After walking aside, Chen Jianghai took out a match and lit the cigarette for the other party, then said with a smile. For this kind of hospitality, the man did not refuse, and took a deep breath. My name is Su Dong, who are you? Chen Jianghai said calmly, My name is Chen Jianghai, and I want to buy something from you. Hearing Chen Jianghai say this, Su Dong immediately became vigilant. What do you mean? What do you want me to buy? Chen Jianghai was not surprised by Su Dong's reaction. Smuggling became a common practice in the 1990s, I am afraid Su Dong thought about it. Brother Dong, I do electrical repairs. You also know that electrical appliances have a lot of broken parts, and many things are not available in the market. Chen Jianghai explained. Hearing this, Su Dong's face slightly improved, his eyes lit up, and he said, I understand, you are here to buy goods. What do you want? The heating tube produced by your factory. Chen Jianghai went straight to the topic. How much? Su Dong asked. One first. Chen Jianghai smiled. One. Su Dong's face froze, frowning and looking at Chen Jianghai. You kid are making fun of me. Chen Jianghai said calmly, Brother Dong, the business is always expanding slowly, and I am also a repair shop, and I have just established a firm foothold. After the business is completed, there are still many opportunities for us to cooperate. Even if I ask you for 1,000 sticks now, can you get them? Besides, I have to see if the goods are there. One day, I must win this parts factory. Su Dong stared straight at it, as if he was still considering the details of Chen Jianghai. Chen Jianghai murmured inwardly, he is really a master who does not see a rabbit but not an eagle. Brother Dong, I'll give you the money first. Chen Jianghai took out a Toiwan lathe paper ticket from his body and stuffed it directly into Su Dong's hand. The market retail price of a heat pipe is at most 3 yuan. The reason why Chen Jianghai is willing to spend 2 yuan is to have a good relationship with Su Dong, so that he can easily get the goods from him in the future. At least for now, there is still a chance to smash the wool. Su Dong glanced at the ticket, pondered for a moment and said, Okay, you wait here. After speaking, Su Dong walked away alone. After waiting for about 5 minutes, Su Dong came back and threw a slender pipe to Chen Jianghai. 1,000 is sold, and 1 is sold. Who is not doing business with? Take it, let's go. Thank you, Brother Dong. Chen Jianghai said hello and left in a hurry. Young man, have you got the parts? Seeing Chen Jianghai coming back, Uncle Hu, who was looking forward to it, quickly stepped forward and asked. I bought it. Chen Jianghai nodded and raised the heat pipe in his hand towards Uncle Hu. Then hurry up and fix it. Uncle Hu pointed to the refrigerator and urged. Chen Jianghai waved his hand and said unhurriedly, Uncle Hu, let's talk about the cost first according to the rules. Uncle Hu glanced at Chen Jianghai, pouted and said, Can you fix it and talk about it again? It's a little early to talk about money now, isn't it? Chen Jianghai smiled slightly, Uncle Hu, I'm not asking you to give money now, but agree on the price so as not to argue. This is the rule of our maintenance industry. You're right, you should. Old Zhang nodded in response, and kept winking at Uncle Hu. Lao Hu pondered for a while, and then said, Then tell me a price. 50. Chen Jianghai stretched out a slap without hesitation. Hearing this price, Lao Hu suddenly stared at him, It's so expensive. Old Zhang frowned and said, Young man, this price is indeed a bit high. Chen Jianghai calmly said, 2 old men, it seems that there is no place to repair refrigerators in our county. If you send it to the city, you have to ask someone to call for a car. It costs more money and delays time. Hearing Chen Jianghai say this, the two looked at each other. What Chen Jianghai said seems to make sense. Master, the longer this seafood is kept outside, the more likely it will be damaged. That's what money bought. Chen Jianghai immediately set fire to it again. Are you sure you can fix it? Lao Hu was a little moved. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com looked up and asked. Chen Jianghai patted his chest and said confidently, As long as there is no problem with the cost, I will do it now. Okay. Uncle Hu gritted his teeth and said, I'm going to be ugly, I won't give you money for repairs. Chen Jianghai nodded with a smile and came to the refrigerator. After the heating pipe is in hand, it is much easier to repair it. Remove the back cover of the refrigerator and remove the damaged heating tube. When I removed the heat pipe, a burning smell came out. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Seeing this, Chen Jianghai took out the heater from his trouser pocket and quickly replaced it. After plugging in the power, a buzzing sound sounded, and the temperature of the refrigerator dropped quickly. Hey, young man, that's okay. Lao Hu touched the cool air and said with a look of surprise. How is it? Lao Hu, I'm not mistaken, he repaired my radio. Lao Zhang also looked proud, as if he had repaired the refrigerator. Lao Hu gave a thumbs up and expressed his sincere admiration. Having such a skill at a young age, I will definitely become a master in the future. Uncle Hu, this refrigerator has been repaired, this cost. What Chen Jianghai cares about is not praise, he needs money. If the old man dared to go back, he would be sure to dismantle this refrigerator so that no one could repair it. Okay, no problem, 50 is 50. The price has been agreed just now, and Uncle Hu is also very happy to give the money. Compared with the success of the wedding banquet for my son's marriage, the mere 50 yuan is nothing. Chen Jianghai's price is already a conscientious price. If you really send it to a repair shop, if you don't have one in the early 100s, don't even think about repairing it. Coupled with the back and forth fare, it is possible to spend 200 yuan. The key is that if the seafood is broken, the loss will be even greater. A dark green 80 pag 50 yuan arrived, and a smile appeared on the corner of Chen Jianghai's mouth. Now, open up. After deducting the cost of gifts and heating pipes, the net profit is 45 yuan. Uncle Hu, if there are friends who want to repair electrical appliances in the future, you can ask them to come to me, and I will wander around here. Chen Jianghai suddenly had the urge to buy a BP machine. No contact information, so crazy. On the way home, Chen Jianghai was in a good mood, humming a little song, passing a newly opened clothing store, and couldn't help but stop. Looking at the bright clothes on the plastic model in the window, Chen Jianghai suddenly remembered something. Wan Chu seems to have not bought new clothes for a long time. Since Lin Wangkai married her, she hadn't had a good life for her. I've been married for more than a year, and I haven't bought a new piece of clothes, and all I wear are brought from my parents' home. Don't say it's outdated, it's already worn out. That is to say, Lin Wangkai's appearance and figure are there, and she looks good in whatever she wears, otherwise she probably won't be able to wear it. A sense of guilt lingered in Chen Jianghai's heart. Why don't you buy her some clothes and make her happy? Covering the 50 big ticket in his pocket, Chen Jianghai walked into the store. When the salesperson saw it, he immediately greeted him and greeted with a smile on his face, "Welcome, come in and have a look." Chen Jianghai was slightly surprised. Now there are not many shops that will call you welcome when you enter the door. The words are round and round, which is really rare in such a small county with full of local accents. At present, Linghai is still a small place, and its economic development is average. Although it has been bathed in the spring breeze of reform and opening up, the concept has not really changed, and it is still relatively backward. Do you have any new women's clothing here? Chen Jianghai asked directly. The clerk's eyes lit up when he heard Chen Jianghai's question. The guest asked this question, obviously it was bought for a woman. Men may be stingy when they spend money on themselves, but they will never be stingy when they spend money on women. There are women's clothes here. The salesperson introduced with great effort. Chen Jianghai took a look. These styles with shoulder pads have long been invisible in future generations, but they are popular now. Look, these are the latest styles. They come from Shanghai. They are very trendy. There are also foot-stripping fitness pants, which are all popular in big cities. Come on! Each era has its own distinctive beauties. Such as the now popular ripped jeans. Bodybuilding pants were all the rage in the 1990s. Put on a pair of fitness pants and a pair of high-heeled leather shoes, and a woman who was originally very ordinary will suddenly feel a third of her color. It is precisely because bodybuilding pants can fully display the beauty of women. Women who are born with a pair of beautiful legs will not hesitate to wear bodybuilding pants to shuttle in the crowd, meeting the envious or amazed eyes of passers-by. There is no girl who doesn't like to dress up, and so does Lin Wangkai. Lin Wangkai really wanted to have a pair of fitness pants. It's just that, because of his livelihood and embarrassment, he can only hide the idea of dressing up in his heart. Chen Jianghai made a selection, bought a floral dress, and a pair of black fitness pants, and spent more than 20 yuan. Now that I bought clothes and pants, I simply went to buy a pair of shoes, just to get together. After all the purchases are completed, the income from repairing the refrigerator will only be 20 yuan. When Chen Jianghai returned home with a large bag and a small bag, he found that Lin Wangkai was already at home. Sitting in a chair and looking out the window quietly, lost in thought, lost in spirit. "Hey, Wan Qiu, did you get off work so early today?" Chen Jianghai asked with a smile. Lin Wangkai lowered her head, her voice seemed to be a little low. "I came back at noon and I haven't seen you." "Oh, I went out to work today and made some money. You wait, I bought your favorite steak, and I'm going to cook for you now." Chen Jianghai quickly put down his things and went to the kitchen with the dishes. Lin Wangkai looked up and found the large and small bags on the table. She could no longer suppress the grievances and anger in her heart, and said in a mournful voice, "Chen Jianghai, what exactly do you want to do?" I'm going to cook for you, what's wrong?" Chen Jianghai was stunned for a moment, and said in a stunned voice. Tears fell from Lin Wangkai's eyes, and her voice was even more sobbing. What did you do, don't you know?" Chen Jianghai suddenly became nervous. He couldn't see Lin Wangkai's sad look the most, so he quickly stepped forward and asked anxiously. "Wangkai, don't cry, what's the matter, tell me. What's going on at home, don't you know? I went to ask, but you didn't report at all. You didn't go to work. Why can't you go to work? Well, why do you still need to do business, why do you still buy things indiscriminately?" With a face full of disappointment, Lin Wangkai pushed Chen Jianghai away, turned around and sat down on the bed, tears streaming down her face. Despair lingered in his mind again. "Wangkai, I really know how to repair home appliances. I didn't go to work because I earn more money from home appliance repairs than working. Look, I repaired that radio. I also helped them repair their refrigerators this afternoon. 50 yuan. Chen Jianghai could only tell the truth. "Real?" Lin Wangkai turned her head and looked at Chen Jianghai with complicated eyes, not knowing what to say for a while. They have been married for so long, and they have never seen Chen Jianghai's craftsmanship in repairing electrical appliances. But she remembered this radio. When Chen Jianghai brought it back yesterday, it was a piece of junk no one wanted. Now that it has been repaired by him, it has greatly explained the problem. He does repair electrical appliances. Seeing that Lin Wangkai stopped crying, Chen Jianghai breathed a sigh of relief. "Of course it's true, I swear, I will never lie to you in the future. If I break my promise, I'll make 5 thunders." Before Chen Jianghai could finish speaking, Lin Wangkai hurriedly interrupted, "Well, why are you saying this? Wangkai, I really didn't lie to you, then this is the money I made today, give it to you, and I will give you all the money I make in the future." With that said, Chen Jianghai took out the remaining $20 from his trouser pocket and stuffed it into Lin Wangkai's hand. I don't know why, hearing Chen Jianghai say this, Lin Wangkai, who had stopped crying, suddenly burst into tears. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Chen Jianghai panicked immediately. He had already made it clear why Lin Wangkai still cried so sadly. In a hurry, Chen Jianghai hugged Lin Wangkai directly, stroked her hair, and gently patted her back in relief. "Wan Qiu, it will get better in the future, I will work hard to earn money." "Chen Jianghai, why didn't you do this sooner? Why did you let me suffer so many grievances?" While crying, Lin Wangkai said, even more sobbing. Chen Jianghai hugged Lin Wangkai tightly, his eyes were red, he lowered his head, and said earnestly in her ear. "Don't worry, I won't let you be wronged again in the future." "Really?" Lin Wangkai raised her head and asked. Looking at this face that I felt pity for, Chen Jianghai stretched out his hand and gently stroked her hair, and said softly, "Of course it's true, how could I lie to you? After I open the electrical appliance store, good days are coming for our family. Lin Wangkai only felt as if she was in a dream. Wasn't this what she thought about day and night before? Rather than being rich and wealthy, what she cares more about is that Chen Jianghai can live a down-to-earth life. Chen Jianghai waited for a long time without hearing Lin Wangkai speak, and found that she had fallen asleep after crying for a long time. Alas, she has been really tired and bitter these past few years. Just let her get a good night's sleep. This cry made Lin Wangkai's backlog of misery vent a lot, and she slept until dawn. After getting up, sitting by the bed, thinking of Chen Jianghai's words yesterday, she couldn't help but smile brightly, and her mood became very good. Wangkai, are you up? Breakfast is ready, wash up and eat. At this time, Chen Jianghai walked in with breakfast and said to Lin Wangkai with a smile. Lin Wangkai quickly put on her clothes, her face a little red. Seeing this scene, Chen Jianghai couldn't help joking, "What are you doing? It's not like I haven't seen it before." Lin Wangkai's face immediately flushed red, and she couldn't say anything. What are you talking about?" Chen Jianghai knew that his daughter-in-law was thin-skinned, and quickly said with a smile, "Okay, I won't joke with you, come and have breakfast, I'll fry an egg for you." After speaking, Chen Jianghai turned around and walked into the kitchen. Looking at Chen Jianghai's back, Lin Wangkai suddenly felt a hint of sweetness in her heart. "Jianghai, what are you going to do today?" At the dinner table, Lin Wangkai suddenly asked. Chen Jianghai answered truthfully, "Tomorrow, we will continue to walk around the streets to find the business of repairing home appliances." Hearing this, Lin Wangkai felt more at ease. As long as Chen Jianghai doesn't mess around. A longing for the future has sprung up in my heart. Maybe life will be better, right? Home appliance repair is not Chen Jianghai's purpose. When walking around the streets, Chen Jianghai intends to do some business of recycling waste home appliances. Compared with home appliance repair, recycling waste home appliances for reuse is the biggest profit. He is confident that with his own craftsmanship and technology, as long as it is not the kind of household appliances that are completely scrapped, he can turn waste into treasure in his own hands. Take that radio, for example. If you sell junk, it will cost 5 cents at most, but after repairing it yourself, the selling price is less than 10 yuan. This is the value of technology. His ideal is not just an electrical repairer, he wants to have an electrical appliance store, an electrical appliance group, an electrical appliance empire. Chen Jianghai waved his hand and said confidently, "You will know later, in short, you have to remember that I will not lie to you." "Then where did you get the money to collect it?" Lin Wangkai asked. "Used home appliances can only be sold as junk, and the price will not be very high. I have made a plan. I will report you an account every day in the future, so that you can see whether you have made a profit or a loss." Chen Jianghai nodded and replied with a smile. Putting down her chopsticks, Lin Wangkai stretched out her hand to straighten the drooping hair on her temples, and said softly, "Jianghai, I don't expect you to be rich and noble, I just hope that you can live a peaceful and stable life and be satisfied, even if you are tired and bitter. It doesn't matter. Since you really want to open this store, I also support it, but you must not be like before, fishing for 3 days and 2 days for nets, you have to do it seriously." Listening to Lin Wanru's chatter at this moment, Chen Jianghai didn't show a trace of impatience, instead he felt very happy. In the last life, although he also loved Lin Wanru, he absolutely did not have the patience to listen to these words. After speaking, Lin Wangkai's eyes suddenly fell on the bag beside him, and he couldn't help but ask, "What's inside? Didn't I earn 50 yuan from repairing home appliances yesterday? I bought you new clothes by the way when I passed by the clothing store." Chen Jianghai took out his clothes while talking. When he turned around, he found that Lin Wangkai lowered his head and his eyes were wet again. Chen Jianghai quickly put down his clothes, and said with concern, "What's wrong? Wangkai, Did I do something wrong? No no. Lin Wangkai shook her head and wiped the moisture from the corners of her eyes. I'm happy, happy. Chen Jianghai breathed a sigh of relief, stroked the other person's hair and said, I will always make you happy in the future, and I won't make you sad again, baby. Hearing the word baby, Lin Wangkai's face turned red. You, what nonsense are you talking about? Lin Wangkai lowered her head, Xiaofei's cheeks. In this era, the way of expressing feelings between couples is still very primitive and simple. Unlike later generations, who would hug and hug each other like no one else on the street at every turn, loving me and me. Seeing the appearance of Lin Wangkai's face with peach blossoms, Chen Jianghai was filled with pity. Such a beautiful, gentle, and virtuous daughter-in-law, she didn't know how to cherish her in her previous life, what a sin. Following that, he said solemnly, What? You are my wife, aren't you my baby? Hearing Chen Jianghai's words, Lin Wangkai felt a numbness in her body, and a very strange feeling flashed through. During the day, stop talking nonsense. Lin Wangkai couldn't help but pushed Chen Jianghai shyly. Chen Jianghai nodded and smiled and said, Okay, baby, listen to you, don't say it, try your clothes first to see if they fit. No, no, I have to go to work quickly and try again at night. After that, Yu reads www. Before Chen Jianghai could react, Lin Wangkai hurried out. Seeing Lin Wangkai's back quickly disappearing outside the door, Chen Jianghai frowned. He had to buy her a better bike as soon as possible. No, just buy a little mulin as a means of transportation. Otherwise, I have to walk to and from get off work, how tiring. In the 1990s, it was no longer necessary to buy a bicycle ticket, as long as you had money, so basically anyone with a job could afford a bicycle. As for motorcycles, they are typical luxury goods, and they are several thousand in size. These days, if you can ride a motorcycle, it is at least $1 million household. To buy a small mulin for his wife has become Chen Jianghai's next small goal. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Really good craftsmanship carrying tools and hanging cardboard, Chen Jianghai wrote out the 28 billion Argentine pesos. Fix home appliances, big and small. Along the way, many people looked at Chen Jianghai who was shouting hard, with a bit of curiosity in their eyes. In this era, there are many people who collect junk, but it is the first time I have seen people who can repair home appliances in the streets. There are very few people with this ability in such a small county, and there is no need to worry about finding a job. Young man, can you fix the radio? An ant came out of the room after hearing the sound, stopped Chen Jianghai, and asked suspiciously. After all, Chen Jianghai looks too young. Chen Jianghai pointed to the sign in front of the handlebar with a smile on his face and said, Big sister, you see it? It doesn't cost money to repair it. These old-fashioned electrical appliances are too simple for Chen Jianghai. It's like a college student doing a primary school student's problem. Naturally, 3 fingers pinch the snails, and he will be sure. The aunt was in her early 40s, when she heard Chen Jianghai, a young man in his early 20s, call her eldest sister. She was stunned for a while, and then she remembered it. She smiled and raised her hand to say hello. Okay, then wait a minute, I'll get the radio. Chen Jianghai will naturally not refuse when a business comes to the door. The eldest sister said just now, in order to shorten the distance. It seems that this trick really worked. Okay, eldest sister, I'll wait for you here. After parking the car, Chen Jianghai swept the light, and there were a lot of people around. It seems that as long as the aunt's radio is repaired, the next business will be easy. After all, the aunt whose vanity is greatly satisfied will definitely exert her natural advertising attributes and naturally make a name for herself. It didn't take long for the aunt to come out with a radio, and the people nearby also gathered around, and suddenly there was a lot of talk. Ginny, is your radio broken? Is this little master's craft reliable? Ginny, try it now. If it works, I'll take it over and fix it. My radio always has a buzzing sound, which is annoying. Everyone was chatting non-stop, waiting for Chen Jianghai to show his skills. In the face of so many people watching, Chen Jianghai, as an old master, was not nervous at all. He took the radio and started to check it out. Big sister, will it be repaired for 3 yuan? After Chen Jianghai looked at it for a while, he had already made up his mind and started quoting. Although the aunt was overjoyed by Chen Jiang's words of eldest sister, but after hearing the $3 maintenance fee, she couldn't help but feel a pain in her face. Is this too expensive? It's worth the money. Chen Jianghai explained with a smile on his face, my brand is very clear, not only will you not be charged for repairs, but you will also pay for it. Aunt seemed to think that was the truth after hearing it, nodded and said with a slight grit of her teeth, that's fine, then you repair it first, and I'll pay you after you've repaired it. No problem, ma'am. After negotiating the price, Chen Jianghai started maintenance in front of so many neighbors. Today's radios are too low-tech, and for Chen Jianghai, it couldn't be simpler. It didn't take long for him to fix it. Listening to the sound of the broadcast on the radio, the aunt showed a happy expression, and extended her thumb to express her heartfelt admiration. The little master is good at craftsmanship. Seeing this scene, everyone finally affirmed Chen Jianghai's technology. It's fixed so soon, I'll try it out with my radio. That's right, right. I remembered that there are often snowflakes on the TV set in my house, so let's take a look at it too. Chen Jianghai saw this posture, although he had already guessed the result, he couldn't help but feel excited. It's not worth the effort you put into it, and it really paid off. He hurriedly said, mothers, brothers and sisters-in-law, don't worry, I can repair radios, TVs, refrigerators and washing machines. If there is any problem with any electrical appliance, you can contact me. My name is Chen Jianghai, and I live on the road ahead. There, you can come to me anytime you need it. At this time, Chen Jianghai will naturally not miss the opportunity to advertise. Next, it's time for Chen Jianghai's performance. In the 1990s, electrical appliances have gradually entered the homes of ordinary people. But now there is no such thing as after-sales service. If you want to repair broken electrical appliances, you can only go to a professional repair shop in the city. This comes and goes, as well as the cost of maintenance, which adds up to a lot of expenses. The key is that there are not many repair shops, often busy with business, and sometimes it is possible to wait a week. In the era when the per capita wage was only 200, as long as electrical appliances could continue to be used, they could endure a little problem. The appearance of Chen Jianghai changed this situation. For just a few bucks, you can fix your faulty appliances, which is definitely a good deal. In one afternoon, Chen Jianghai was so busy that he didn't even have time to drink water. People nearby heard that there was such a master and asked him to come and repair it. Chen Jianghai is not only skilled, but also very practical, and will not deliberately waste time or exaggerate the problem. A damaged electrical appliance can be repaired in a few minutes if he gets it in his hands, or about half an hour at most. Of course, for some home appliances that need to be replaced, Chen Jianghai can't do anything about it. He told the owner that he would buy the corresponding parts tomorrow and then repair it. Taking advantage of this enthusiasm, Chen Jianghai basically walked all over the nearby streets in one breath, allowing him to easily make a lot of money. Today's income is more than 100. Chen Jianghai counted the bills of 1, 2, 5, and it was already in his early 100s. He wasn't too surprised by this. You know, he was busy all afternoon, and he almost didn't even have time to catch his breath. However, if other people know about this, they must be jealous. The money Chen Jianghai made this day was equivalent to half a month's income. And there are still a lot of people who need to be repaired here, and some of them will be more profitable if they replace parts. If it weren't for the fact that he was rushing home to cook for Lin Wangkaiu, Chen Jianghai would not be able to leave at all. The only thing that makes Chen Jianghai a little disappointed is that he didn't receive any worn-out appliances today. For him, this is the most profitable business at the moment. After buying vegetables and returning home, Chen Jianghai put everything in the room and went to work in the kitchen. Lin Wangkai came back just after the meal was half finished. Looking at Chen Jianghai who was cooking in the kitchen, Yu read www.yuyuganshu.com. Lin Wangkai's eyes shone brightly, as if seeing hope. After watching silently for a moment, Lin Wangkai wiped away the crystals from the corners of her eyes, and she couldn't help but have a happy smile on her face. This man has really changed. However, Chen Jianghai was busy cooking in the kitchen, so he didn't notice that Lin Wangkai was back. Chen Jianghai! Chen Jianghai! Lin Wangkai's slightly anxious voice suddenly came from the room. When Chen Jianghai, who was cooking, heard it, he didn't care about the dishes on the coal stove and rushed into the room. Thanks for watching, please subscriber. Wan Qiu, what's wrong? After entering the room, Chen Jianghai let out a sigh of relief when he saw that Lin Wangkai was standing by the table. Nothing unusual. What happened? Lin Wangkai pointed at the money on the table, stared at her eyes, and her voice trembled. You, where did you get so much money? Hearing Lin Wangkai's question, Chen Jianghai couldn't help but smile. That's what happened. I earned it from repairing electrical appliances today. Chen Jianghai replied calmly, as if he was talking about a very common thing. Lin Wangkai frowned and said in surprise, Earn, more than 100. What's so hard about this? Chen Jianghai smiled and said, if I hadn't rushed back to cook, I would still be pulled over there to fix things. Lin Wangkai looked at each other suspiciously. Chen Jianghai's change was so great that she couldn't believe it. Chen Jianghai said with a smile, Wangkai, I said, if you want to live a good life for you, you will definitely do it. Okay, I'm going to cook first, you go wash your face and wait. After finishing speaking, Chen Jianghai went into the kitchen to get busy, leaving Lin Wangkai with a dull expression. After having a delicious dinner, Lin Wangkai still couldn't believe that Chen Jianghai could earn more than 100 a day before going to bed. As for Chen Jianghai, after a busy day, he fell asleep in bed. Lin Wangkai had countless questions in her heart, and she never had the chance to ask them out. Hearing his heavy breathing, Lin Wangkai tossed and turned, and couldn't sleep well all night. The next morning, as soon as Lin Wangkai opened his eyes, he saw that Chen Jianghai had already prepared breakfast, and after eating a little, he was ready to go out. Seeing that Lin Wangkai was awake, Chen Jianghai smiled and said to her, Wangkai, I've made breakfast. You can go to work after you finish eating. I'll leave first. After finishing speaking, Chen Jianghai didn't wait for Lin Wangkai to say anything more, and rode the dilapidated 28 bicycle and hurriedly went out. Lin Wangkai looked at Chen Jianghai's back, a little strangeness, a little relief, and a little surprise in her eyes. Is this still your own husband who is over the top and has nothing to do? On that street yesterday, there were still several electrical appliances in need of repair that lacked the necessary parts, which could only be bought by going to the component factory. Chen Jianghai naturally had to go there. By the way, buy some commonly used accessories and the like, and really start the maintenance business. Yesterday, he also had no money in his pocket, otherwise he would have already done the preparatory work. Now that he has funds on hand, he plans to keep some to recycle old appliances, and the rest to buy some commonly used components. It is still early, and the component factory must not have opened its doors yet. Chen Jianghai decided to settle the remaining business orders from yesterday. For him, accumulating more funds as soon as possible will undoubtedly allow him to start the business in a short period of time. After all, walking around the streets like this is just an expedient measure. In the future, I still have to set up a shop and wait for customers to come. When Chen Jianghai came to this street this time, someone warmly greeted him immediately. Master Chen, are you out to work so early? If my son was half as sensible as Master Chen, I would die of laughter. Master Chen, my electrical appliances were not repaired yesterday, come and have a look. Chen Jianghai responded to the friendly conversations of these enthusiastic neighbors. And adhering to the principle of making money with harmony, they try to say some kind words that are beneficial without cost. After the experience of struggling at the bottom of the society in the last life, Chen Jianghai has an experience far beyond his age group. Although it was only a few short sentences, it also won more recognition from this group of uncles and aunts. They are more and more pleasing to the eyes of this Master Chen, who is skilled and has no pretensions. It is estimated that if it hadn't already been known that Master Chen had a family, some people would have rushed to introduce him as a matchmaker. At 10 in the morning, Chen Jianghai let out a long breath. Finally finished the last one. Handing over the revoicing radio to a middle-aged man, Chen Jianghai took the maintenance fee of 3 yuan and 80 cents and stood up to prepare to go to the component factory. The electrical appliances in the vicinity are basically repaired, and it is estimated that the next stop will have to be changed. But this is a good start, and Chen Jianghai is full of expectations for the future. When he came to the outside of the component factory, Chen Jianghai frowned slightly. There are many people around at this moment, and from time to time there is a burst of scolding, and I don't know what happened. Chen Jianghai took a closer look and realized that it was the material supplier who was collecting debts. After inquiring, it turns out that the current efficiency of the component factory is not very good, and there are still some problems with funds. The deadline for payment has already passed, and the material supplier has come directly to collect debts. Seeing this, Chen Jianghai suddenly came up with a bold idea: should we take down the component factory? But after thinking about it carefully, Chen Jianghai immediately suppressed the thought. It is the 1990s, and the distinction between state-owned and private enterprises is very vague. Many business giants in the previous life also relied on the merger of state-owned enterprises, thus starting their own brilliant road. Chen Jianghai also thought of this routine, carrying out the share reform of the component factory and using this springboard to develop his career. But the premise is that Chen Jianghai can get all the shares of the component factory. Otherwise, this is not a cornucopia, but a ticking time bomb. There are many people who merged with state-owned enterprises and became rich in the past life, but there are also many people who can be tricked. It is normal for the light ones to go bankrupt, and the serious ones to go to jail. In the final analysis, the policies of each place are different, and the difficulty of obtaining shares is also different. Linghai has always been a small place, and the thinking is relatively rigid and backward. If Chen Jianghai said that he wanted to take down the factory, it is estimated that no one would agree. Moreover, the required funds are definitely not a small amount, so let's talk about this matter after a while. When he came to the factory, Chen Jianghai found Su Dong. Su Dong was lying in the warehouse office at this time, leisurely reading a newspaper. There was a cup of tea next to it, and a mellow fragrance was brewing in the air. After inquiring, Chen Jianghai has a little understanding of Su Dong's identity. Su Dong is mainly in charge of the warehouse in the factory, and it can be said that he is an enviable fat man. As for why Su Dong was able to get to this point, reading www.yuyuganshu.com is not entirely because of his brother-in-law who is the factory manager, but also has a little effort of his own. Why are you here again? Seeing Chen Jianghai, Su Dong frowned slightly. After giving things to Chen Jianghai last time, Su Dong regretted it a little. If this is caught by someone with a heart, maybe his position will be unstable. More importantly, if his brother-in-law's position was affected because of this, it would be too much of a loss. Seeing Su Dong's reaction, Chen Jianghai groaned in his heart. What does this mean? Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Chen Jianghai didn't go around in circles, he went straight to the topic and smiled, Brother Dong, I still want to buy some accessories. If you want to buy accessories, you go to the sales department, why are you coming to me? Su Dong looked like he was doing business, completely different from yesterday's attitude. Chen Jianghai seemed to have figured out a little bit of taste, and then said, the sales department is so busy right now, how can there be time for me? Su Dong glanced at Chen Jianghai and said lukewarmly, that has nothing to do with me. After speaking, he lowered his head and continued to read the newspaper. Seeing this situation, Chen Jianghai couldn't help but feel a little anxious. If Su Dong can't be persuaded to open the back door, then the accessories will be gone. If you go to the mall to buy it, the price is not cheap, the profit margin will be greatly compressed, and it will waste time. Although there is an electronic component factory here, there is no special sales point. If you want to buy it, you have to go to the nearest city. Brother Dong, have a cigarette. Chen Jianghai hurried forward and handed a cigarette, and put the Ashima cigarette just opened on the table by the way. Looking at the cigarette that Chen Jianghai handed over, Su Dong hesitated, and finally took it. As the saying goes, reach out and don't hit the smiling person. Chen Jianghai's attitude was so low, and it was considered a deal yesterday, and Su Dong was not good at turning his face and not recognizing anyone. There is a play. Chen Jianghai hit the snake with the stick, quickly ordered it for Su Dong, and then smiled, Brother Dong, the efficiency of the factory doesn't look very good. Hearing this, Su Dong couldn't help but sighed. He simply put the newspaper in his hand that he had no intention of reading on the table. Who said no? Nowadays, there are many private companies in the electrical appliance market, and foreign factories are also crowded in. Small local factories like ours are not competitors at all. Things are expensive and no one wants them, and they are cheap. You have to lose money, it's hard to do. It seems that the situation of component factories is not generally bad. No wonder it won't be long before bankruptcy and liquidation. Of course, as long as you think about the fact that there is no component factory in the county, it is not difficult to see how rigid the leadership of this factory is. You can't have a point of sale just because local sales are limited, right? But right now, Chen Jianghai doesn't want to meddle in his own business and give people advice or something. Or start your own assembly business and make money in a low-key way. Chen Jianghai smiled slightly, and then said, Brother Dong, let's put aside the matter of the factory for now. Speaking of yourself, have you thought about the way back? Hearing Chen Jianghai's question, Su Dong glanced at him unexpectedly, and then fell into silence. Now state-owned enterprises are facing reforms. During this period of time, I don't know how many factories with better profits than them have collapsed in a short period of time. This factory is in crisis now, and if it continues like this, it is estimated that it will not live long. If he were to collapse, he would have to be laid off and unemployed. Thinking of this, Su Dong couldn't help but let out a sigh. Before you know it, a cigarette has been smoked. It was only at this moment that he suddenly reacted. How did this guy take the initiative in the topic? This Chen Jianghai is not easy. What are you trying to say? Su Dong squinted, looked at Chen Jianghai and asked rhetorically. Chen Jianghai smiled and said, Hey, what else can I do? I just want to make some money. As he spoke, he rubbed his thumb and index finger, making a movement of counting money. Make money. The corner of Su Dong's mouth cracked, and he said with a little teasing and a little curiosity, just buy 1 or 2 heating tubes at a time, what kind of money can you make? Coming. Chen Jianghai said immediately, Brother Dong, this time I want a lot. Su Dong didn't care too much. After drinking a sip of tea, he looked at him with a half-smiling smile, Big? How big can it be? How much can you make by pouring some components? Brother Dong, to be honest, I plan to assemble the electrical appliances myself and sell them in a while. Chen Jianghai said calmly. What did you say? Su Dong suddenly widened his eyes and stared at Chen Jianghai in surprise. Chen Jianghai seemed to have expected such a reaction, and said calmly, I said I want to assemble electrical appliances and sell them. You assemble? Will you? Su Dong looked at Chen Jianghai carefully for a few seconds, and asked in a heavier tone. Chen Jianghai smiled and said confidently, Brother Dong, since I say that, I am naturally confident. I have the technology and you have the resources, and cooperation will definitely make money. Hearing this, Su Dong's face was a little tangled, obviously tempted. Chen Jianghai knew that he had to add more. Brother Dong, the profit in the factory will always belong to the factory, and the money in your pocket is yours. When he said this, Chen Jianghai was serious and thoughtful, as if he was planning for Su Dong. Su Dong didn't speak, he walked to the door, confirmed that there was no one outside, and closed the door directly. How to do it, let's hear it. Su Dong walked back and asked in a low voice. It's very simple. I'll take the components from you, you guarantee my needs, and we'll settle it in cash. Chen Jianghai expressed his thoughts. Su Dong couldn't help taking a deep breath. If this is to be done, there is actually a lot of room for maneuver. As long as the quantity is large enough, even if it is slightly lower than the market price, it is still a solid profit. There are a lot of parts in the warehouse now, and they will rust when they are placed in the warehouse. I am worried that there is no way to sell them and turn them into cash. He also doesn't expect Chen Jianghai to eat it all, as long as he can make a fortune before the factory closes. Of course, a small amount can be reported for loss. If the amount is large, he still has to inform his brother-in-law, even if he buys it at a low price first, and then wholesales it to Chen Jianghai. What do you want? I'll give it to you now. After Su Dong figured out this truth, he said directly without hesitation. Chen Jianghai immediately reported the accessories he wanted, there were almost 30. After Su Dong took out the paper and wrote it down, he said to Chen Jianghai, Okay, you wait here first. 10 minutes later, Su Dong hurried back with a bag. Then, all the things you want are here. You can give $30. Let's go quickly, so that no one will see you. Chen Jianghai didn't say much, and immediately took 4 great unity cards from his pocket and stuffed them into Su Dong's hands. Thank you, Brother Dong. After Chen Jianghai left, Su Dong looked at the 4 new unity with the scent of ink in his hand, and nodded, this Chen Jianghai is true. Holding the purchased parts, Chen Jianghai rode his bicycle and happily returned to the street, full of energy to repair all the remaining electrical appliances. I said Mr. Chen, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com. It's a pity that you don't open a shop with this skill. Someone couldn't help but say. That's right, if Mr. Chen opens a shop, I'll definitely be there in the future. Come on. Lao Lu, do you have so many appliances in your home? People don't repair flashlights. But then again, if Master Chen really opens a repair shop, it will be convenient for us in the future. Seeing everyone talking, laughing, and making fun of each other, Chen Jianghai couldn't help sighing in his heart. It really answered that sentence, distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors. Thanks for watching, please subscribe.